Hello viewers, thank you for joining us today. We are here on this show discussing matters parenting. And since it has become a matter of concern in step parenting, we've decided to bring in a psychiatrist who is going to address this matter based on how they view the situations with. Welcome to the show. Introduce yourself.
Thank you. So my name is Jane Ruben. I'm a psychologist, not a psychiatrist. These are two different areas. Thank you viewers for watching, and we will be talking about step parenting and the issues they are in. Thank you very much.
Let's understand what is step parenting for once.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, step parenting is actually taking care or nurturing a child or bringing up a child who is not yours biologically. So that is what it is about step parenting, and either of the gender can actually step parent. You can be a stepfather, and you can also be a stepmom, and you can also become step parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are the major challenges that come up with step parenting?
Of course, it has its own challenges. Step parenting, for one, remember you're bringing up a child who is not yours. Depending with what age that you got into them, there are many dynamics why people would decide to become step parents. For example, someone could be widowed, so maybe you have a husband, you get another husband, you get married, so your children become the step children to the father or to the man that you have gotten married to.
Yeah.
Depending with their age, you could probably get into a relationship when children are also like of age, big ones, depending with whatever age that someone is getting into this relationship to become a step parent.
Yeah.
So then challenges are many. One of the challenges is to probably make an assumption that this child will automatically become your child.
Yeah.
You know, forgetting the fact that that's not your biological child. So then there are those challenges that maybe step parents should actually be looking at, and also help the other, help the other parent to parent these children or this child. Talking about maybe of another challenge is that you actually don't know how to even parent them, you know. Like you could be having this child who is probably a girl. You have not parented a girl before, so there are those challenges that will come with step parenting.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we have had cases where probably a parent loses a partner, and when they get engaged to another relationship, the stepdad or the stepmom to their child doesn't agree in terms of genes, in terms of coherent. Like the understanding is way totally different from what they were used to. For instance, you may have a child brought up in the modern society.
True.
In the urban areas.
Sure.
And the step parent becomes somebody who's coming from a rural area. Now the upbringing is different. And how do you put together these two cultural differences?
Yes.
And make sure that this child doesn't lose track?
True. Yeah, that's actually a dynamic in step parenting. That you may have brought up children, if it was the lady, she may have brought up children maybe in the urban, and the vice versa is also applicable. That maybe children would have been brought in a rural setup, and the person they are getting married to is probably in the urban, and you know there are those dynamics. So, and one of the things that needs to happen when somebody like decides to get married, when they have children, or where they have a child, is to first prepare the children. You know, let them understand that we are probably getting into another family, or you guys are getting a mother, or you guys are getting another father. So then you prepare them to be able to understand. So that is one of the things that should actually happen. The parent with the children, be it the mother or the father, you prepare the children into getting into that relationship. If it is possible, it would be important before getting into a relationship, like like even getting married, moving in. It would be important for you to introduce this child to the person in question. Let them meet, in an informal manner. You could probably opt for a lunch out, an outing, maybe an evening, even a walk. You could actually plan even a walk or a drive, and have these children get a bond, like relate with the person that is in question. So then when you bring these children into the person, then you will also be observing. So how are they likely to gel? How are they likely to get into each other? And that becomes a plus for you. Number two, it will be important for you to also prepare the children. If you're coming maybe from the urban and you're going to the rural, or the vice versa, it will be important for you to prepare them that probably we are getting into this relationship, we are going to be having this happening, and this is probably what to expect. Discuss with them, let them understand that this is what they are going to get into. And with that, then you can be able to address the fears they'll be having. If there are any anxieties, you're going to be able to address it. Have a talk with them.
Something that comes up in that intercultural differences in relationship and step parenting, you find that there are money issues. And probably one of the partners who come into this relationship is not well off than the other. And let's say, for instance, the one who is well off is the one who has children. And when they grow up, they know this was our car, this was our house, this is what we had. What did you bring on the table? And there seems to be a disconnect or disrespect to this other parent. A child may grow up to teenagehood and they are saying, we had all this when you came into our lives. You cannot rule over it. How as a parent, a step parent, who didn't bring anything on the table but a relationship, deal with a situation where the kids are now dictating matters money?
Wow, that's a very tricky situation, and I would imagine it can also be a very difficult one to find oneself in. But nevertheless, it will be important for the parent. Again, I want to go back to the parent, the biological parent of those children. It would be in their jurisdiction to ensure that some of those attitudes, because it's an attitude thing, some of those attitudes that probably they are likely to exhibit, she is able to manage or he's able to manage, at that very point. And then it will be also important for the person with the children to make them understand that maybe I am not getting into this relationship, or I'm not getting married, or I'm not marrying because of what I have or what they have. It's purely because probably then it is purely because of maybe love. Let them understand that after they have grown, they will go, they will leave you. You need a companion. You need someone to grow old with, age with. And then let them understand it from that point, so that then issues of exhibiting a bad attitude will actually be taken care of. So it is actually within the parent with the children to ensure that amefanya kila kitu, like she or he has really been able to stabilize everything. Let it come out from the word go that why we are getting into this, let it be clear to the children, let them know why they are getting into that relationship.
So if they are bigger children, it's good to make them understand, explain to them why you are getting into this relationship. And if they are too small to understand, as they grow, they should grow up knowing this is their dad, this is their mom.
That is perfectly well, because if they are young, give them age-appropriate information if they understand anything. If they're able to understand, it would be important to give them, information that they can synthesize, information that they can be able to take in. Let them understand, because you find even a 2-year-old, if by any chance the parents may have divorced or someone may have died, maybe they knew or they understood in their own way. They knew maybe this is what was happening or this is what happened. So it is important for you to be able to understand and understand the situation and be able to give them the information that they can understand at their age. If they're teenagers, good enough, like lay it on the table. Talk about it, because then you will find that there are those who maybe they will not like the person that you're bringing to them, and then let them be able to understand from that point. Okay?
We have come as to situations where you find the lady or the man makes a decision, they don't involve their children, and when there is any confrontation, they tell each other, you're not the one I married, so you either respect it or leave. Does that create a harmonious living?
No. That actually is a wrong footing. And that is why probably we are educating people on how to deal with step families or step children. Because then at this very point, if there are children who can comprehend issues, it will be important to bring them on board. so they don't feel like they have been left out. They don't feel like someone is not taking care of them, you know, like they are not being, you know, taken care of.
Yeah.
They are not being recognized. So you need to recognize and appreciate the fact that these are children. Of course, in a respectful manner,
Yeah.
then you can be able to address that issue with them.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've come across single parents who are worried if they would engage themselves in any relationship that would lead to marriage, that their children will suffer. And we end up having so many of them. And as you can attest in the society today, we have so many single parents. They are not single parents because they want to live single. In fact, most of them, they will take weekends out. And those people they are going to weekends out with, they can comfortably live with them as husband and wife,
Sure.
but they don't want to bring them into the comfort of their home where their children are. They are worried that their children may suffer the consequences of interrating. And since we want to dilute this idea of single parenthood, and we want to bring in the aspect of step parenthood as a way of forming a formidable family union, how do we bring about an understanding that single parenthood is not the answer? And we need a solution that even step parenthood can work.
Thank you. I know there are those people who choose to live single, you know, maybe because of the experiences that they have passed before. Because if you would find a person who has children, then they must have been in a relationship, you know, at one time or another. Okay. Now, at this point where they have made a decision that they do not want to get involved with any person, may it be a man, may it be a woman, because you're also having single fathers.
Yeah.
At this point when they have made their decisions that they will not want anyone, then you would appreciate that fact. But if someone would really want to get into a relationship and probably become, you know, get married, you know, marry if you're a man, or get married if you're a lady, it will be important to look at yourself first. You know, like for once, think about how will it be. Because then you could be looking at the welfare of the children who will grow in their 20s. They will be going to campus and maybe staying outside. So do you really want to stay alone? Do you really want to stay without anyone in your life? And at that very point, it would be important then to make those considerations. There are those people who will, like you're saying, who will choose not to get into any, you know, structured relationship. They would opt for maybe just friends, you know.
BFFs.
Best friends forever, yes.
Yeah.
But for how long can this one be able to go? So depending with how you have structured yourself and how you want your life to be, it will be important not to probably put the welfare of the children first. Think about your life first. You know, how will it be for you when you're in your 60s, in your 50s, and these guys have left home? Maybe you even had one child, or you have two. So in an event that you do not get a person to stay with, get married to, or marry, then how is your life going to be after they have left the home? So it's actually, you know, you give it a thought. You need to really give it a thought and consider, what would I be able to do after these children have gone? If the answer is still I can still stay on by myself,
well and good.
Well and good.
Now we have ladies are the biggest victims in this.
Yes.
You find there are so many ladies who probably they tried and errored.
Yes.
They try and error in relationships, and probably a lady conceives while still in school. They don't get married, or probably they did not even have a relationship with the father's kid, or the kid's father in that matter.
Yes.
And probably when they finish college, they join the workforce. They develop another relationship that leads to another conception. And they fail, and probably on that time, the same thing happens, and that lady is depressed.
Sure.
They don't know how to approach another matter like that.
Yes.
You'd find that someone is raising 3 kids, and they are not of the same father. How do you approach a man to become a father to 4 kids born of different fathers?
Interesting. Now, looking at that kind of a situation, you will agree with me that it can be a very sad state of affairs. that a lady gets into a relationship that goes for another one and another one and another one, and probably has 4 children not of the same father. I want to say this, that if any other man would become interested in you and is actually ready to marry you, I don't think children would be a deterrent. Because this man who is talking about that how would I get into a relationship and then I'll be raising 4 children who are not of the same father? I mean,
Their interest is the lady.
exactly.
So you should, as they say, when you like a cow,
Yes.
there's a terminology.
Even the calf. is
Even the
also
calf.
yours.
There's a terminology in our
Yes,
dialect
yes.
that weda ng'ombe na kamukwa. When you like the calf,
Yes.
the cow and
yes,
the calf
yes,
as well.
Yeah, you exactly. So it is actually, this woman comes as a package, and her package are the 4 children. I'm just wondering whether it would change the situation if you knew even their fathers. I mean, the children are a package of this woman. So if it is her that you have loved, love even her baggage, love her children, you know. Just the same way that someone gets married with a child. I mean, it is the mother and the child. They are a package. So if there are 3 or 4, it really doesn't matter. If you have loved this woman, please take her and marry her with her children.
Now, we are going to take a break.
Yes.
And the next time, when we come back,
Yes.
there is a big fear
Yes.
with these single parents who want to co-parent their children
Yes.
with another person.
Yes.
And in this case, I want to refer more to a lady
Yes.
who has probably a girl child,
Yes.
and there is a big fear. My child may be molested but by the stepfather, as we have heard and seen in most of these sectors.
Yes.
So when we come back, let's tackle that.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.